All right, hello once again, Jeff Scott from Jeff Teaches Programming. In the last video, we began our second iteration of the BMI EFCore project that we're working on. And what I wanted to come up and do here is show you the person repository, because we didn't really do a heck of a lot in here as far as documentation. So this was the EntityFrameworkCore implementation. That's good, that's fine. We're going to put in here, this provides full CRUD, which remember is create, read, update, delete, database access. All right, so we've got that, but let's actually look at what we put in here. All right. So we are going to be using the BMI library data. All right. That's where this is located. And we're going to use system. Okay. But let's take a look at all these things that are in here. So here's the add. All right. So what is this doing? All right. Let's just start with the add here. This method inserts a new record into the database. Not a big thing, but let's just let's capitalize the T in here. All right, this not ethid. How about method? Okay. So we've got public void, add person. Person looks good. Using var context, we are what this does is this lets the system figure out the kind of variable this is. Context. It's a new BMI DB context, which we created and we went over in the last video. All right. Then we want to use an add, and we want to add the person to our database. Finally, we want to save those changes. Okay, that should be pretty obvious, or hopefully it's pretty obvious. Then we've got list. This is the C create method. It is used to insert a new record into the database. All right, the second one here, this list. This is the R for read method. All right, and it is used to retrieve all of the database records. Okay. All right. Next. And what does this do? Again, we set up a context and then we return everything. Okay. So we are creating a new concrete person, and we're grabbing from there their first name, last name, height, weight, and we figured out their BMI and their BMI status. We're casting it to an I person because it's a list of I person that we are returning, and we're putting it into a list. Then we've got the clear, and this is not this method right here. This clear, it's what it is going to clear the database. All right. So in other words, this, let's copy it over and see if we can copy this one again. So this is the D for delete method. It is used to remove all records from the database. All right. What else do we have? We've got an update in here. Well, we got this is empty. And this method, this method is used to, how do we say this? It's used by the user, interface or UI to see if any records exist. So as you can see here, it's going to check and it'll return. All right, it's going to return true if it is empty and return false if it's not. All right. It can be vice versa. I'm looking at this here. So this is returning context.people.any. All right. And it's going to return the not of that. So if there are people in there, it'll return false. If there are people in there, if there are not any people in there, it will return true. If there are any people in there, inverting it will have us return false. All right, then we've got our helper mapping method. And again, what this does, let's move this down, can be consistent here. This is the helper mapping method. Oops. It converts an I person. It's also known as the domain model into a person entity, which in other words is the database model. So again, it's helping in this conversion between the program and the database. All right. I don't think we have to make any changes in here. I'm looking. It looks good to me. Just quickly go back and relook at all this stuff. The is empty, var using var context, dbi context, return. Yeah, that looks good. The clear. Again, you can see we're creating a new context every time. People context, that's changes. That looks good. We've got the list. People. That looks good, as far as I can tell. And finally, we've got the add, which was our create. Yeah, I think this looks good as far as I can tell here. I don't think there's really any other changes that are going to have to be made in here. Our BMI stats. File. Save all. Let's close that. Let's look at our BMI stats, which of course is going to be in here. So let's look at the code. All right, we said iPerson repository equals SQL repository. Now it's going to have to be equal to an EF person repository. Now I think I'm getting the error because nope, using BMI library. Did I make that a capital F? No. So let's see. So this is using BMI library. There it is. And what do we call that? Wasn't there an EF? I thought we just looked at this. That isn't the one. Oh, we called it ePerson. It should have been EF person. So let's rename this to EF person repository. We'll change it everywhere else. No, I don't want EFF. I just want an EF. Let's go back and rename it again. Maybe it was right to begin with. I don't know. All right, so that's okay now. Save all. All right, let's close this SQL repository. Let's look at our BMI stats. Well, what I'm wondering here, let's see. Huh. Yeah, BMI library won't need anything, so let's cancel that. Let's look at our program here. Add project reference. We've got the BMI library in there already. Okay, why is it not liking this? It says cannot be found. Are you missing a reference? No. Rename SQL person repository to It's saying, do we want to rename this one SQL person repository? No, we don't. We want to use this one, EF person repository. I just copied it over. There must have been something. Oh, it's repository. Oh, goodness. Again, we will rename this. Good gravy. All right, that fixed that. All right. I think that's the only thing we have to change in here. And ideally, that's starting to show us the power, so to speak, of using this repository pattern. All right. I don't know if we've got any errors in here now. I don't think we do. So save all. Let's close that. Let's close that. Let's close this. All right. Now let's look at our app config to make sure that looks okay. I believe there should be no changes in there. All right. Connection strings, BMI database 2, connection listing. SQL local DB, initial catalog, BMI database 02, integrated security, and then our connection string. Yeah, that looks good. All right. So I'm going to try something here. So file, let's do a save all. Now, when you look in here, I'm going to close everything that we've got in here and everything we've got open. So you'll see right now we do not have a migrations folder. We're going to see right now if we can create one or if we have errors in here. So if this works, we're going to have a migration folder in here, and it's going to create the database over here, BMI database 02, with our table in it. So tools, NuGet package manager console, which probably was already open, and that's okay. All right. So let's do again an add dash migration. Initial create. You can call this anything you want, but that's just a commonly used name. Hopefully we won't get any errors here. If we do, we're going to have to try to debug them. All right. You'll notice we have now our migrations folder. All right. And we want to do an update database. You'll notice when we look in here, we do not have a BMI database 02. All right. We're going to see if we get that now. So let's hit enter. It says it succeeded. It's not showing it here yet, but we are going to refresh. And there is BMI database 02. And if we look at tables, we have our person table. And if we look at that, we can take this, and this is our schema. So again, we've got the person ID. Notice it's automatically set up to be a primary key. First name, last name, height, weight, all these. Now, why this says float 53, I don't really know. All right. And why that's a date time too, I'm not sure. But it did something in there. Okay. I think everything, as far as I can tell, everything is okay. All right. So what we now have, we should have our create, our read, and our delete. All right. So let's see. And I'm going through my notes here. All right, so we've got the stuff done, but what we don't have done in here, I want to say this again. Okay, we basically have in here, when you look at this, let's bring up our BMI stats. It'll come up momentarily. But what we do have in there is we do have the equivalent of our create right there. All right, what we do not have, all right, what we do not have is we do not have, we've not bound EFCore results to a data grid view. So in other words, we want a data grid view for the read, the update, and the delete. All right. We want to keep our repository pattern. We want to be able to use as much of this stuff as we possibly can. Let's look at our iPerson repository. See where we are for time. We're at 20 minutes. I think I'm going to stop it right here because this might take a little bit of time. So we'll bring this up next. We're going to go through the iPerson repository, and then we're going to look at our person entity class, and we'll look at, again, our EFPerson repository to make sure that it looks okay. That's most of what we have left to do here. We might have to look at maybe even our person concrete that we're using. I'm not sure. All right, so that's what we're going to do next. I don't know if we'll finish this in one more video or if it'll take more. We'll see. Be back with that shortly.